Francevic's now into the pits, 1 lap after Johnson and Richards. This is Francevic, who was lying in 3rd position. Speaking to Mark Petch, the team owner. Slick change of tires on the car, but they're under the bonnet. That's unusual, Bob Morris.
Well, I wouldn't think that would be scheduled to be looking under the bonnet. I think they added some oil. You saw the car smoking there earlier, so perhaps it's using a little through oil surge or something similar.
Still a time of round about 30 seconds, which isn't bad at all for the Volvo when you consider they went under the bonnet. And Johnson comes through and laps him.
Frank Gardner, JPS BMW team manager, you weren't planning a pit stop originally. Why did you bring Jim in?
Our times had fallen away. We're in a 19-second bracket, so we've brought it in, tossed on some really good scrubbed-in tyres, and we're picking up about 1.5 seconds.
Same compound as previously?
Same compound as previously. Obviously, there's a lot more oil out there than we thought. But I'd opt for a softer compound, but it's just a little bit too hot for my liking.
Lap 70 in the Pepsi 250 at Oran Park, and Dick Johnson still leads, as he has from the start, 27.63 seconds ahead of Jim Richards. They're the only 2 drivers on the same lap. The next lap down is Alan Grice, who's not yet had a pit stop in his Holden Commodore. He's 14.28 seconds ahead of Robbie Francevic, who in turn is 37.21 seconds clear of Wilmington, who in turn is 9.11 seconds clear of Brock. Then 2 laps down comes Kevin Bartlett. With 28 laps remaining, Peter Brock is challenging Gary Wilmington for 5th position, and it looks like he's got him. Yes, he has. Peter Brock goes through, but there's some 30 seconds now up to Robbie Francevic in 4th, and with only 28 laps to go, can Peter Brock do it? Lying in 4th place with 19 laps remaining, the Robbie Francevic Volvo is in the pits for an unscheduled stop. They're under the bonnet. As you remember, they were under the bonnet during their scheduled pit stop some 20 laps ago. And it looks, Bob Morris, as if there is a real problem as Wayne Eckersley works around the bonnet.
Well, I'd say that the way the car's been smoking, they have an oil surge problem, and it's using more oil than they anticipate, or they have to keep the oil topped up so that it doesn't damage the engine.
22.75 seconds was the stop in the pits, and it'll be interesting to see whether Gary Wilmington, Peter Brock, who was lying behind Francevic, can now overtake him. And it appears from the Castrol lap scoring service that that's already occurred whilst Francevic was in the pits. And Peter Brock is now definitely up into 4th position. He's 4.7 seconds in front of Robbie Francevic on the road, and with Alan Grice still to take his pit stop in 3rd place, Peter Brock could well take 3rd place in this motor race at very least. And Bob Morris, that's a very creditable performance.
Well, I think from having a problem there early in the race and an extra pit stop, I think puts him in good standing.
And at the front of the field, we've got Dick Johnson with a misfiring engine, losing ground to 2nd placed Jim Richards. Richards has pulled in from 27 seconds in arrears at lap 77 to at lap 82 to be 21.5 seconds behind. So Johnson's lead is potentially under threat. Still a long way to go in terms of actually grabbing it from him, but his engine is not working 100%.
And with only 14 laps remaining, Alan Grice has run to the line, has run out of petrol. And Alan Grice has to limp to the pits now if he can get up Castrol Hill.
He just got the engine started again. To see the car joggling, it's probably cut again now. He was holding up Jim Richards, who was in fact had not made any ground on Dick Johnson in quite a number of laps. Here he is, trying to get it started again. Chugging, just gasping. He'll get there, but it's costing him a lot of time. He was minus a lap. Jim Richards was just about to lap him. So he's a lap down to both the leader Johnson and to Richards, and he's made it. He will get there now, and this is most expensive for Alan Grice. His determination to battle with Jim Richards has cost him a lot of time.
And Brock goes through to take over 3rd position as Grice still hasn't made his pit stop. Let's roll the watches on it.
But indeed, it has also cost Jim Richards time.
He'll only need 1 churn, I'd reckon, as long as he can get fuel back up into the carburation.
They're not putting tyres on. They've put 1 churn in, but they can't get it going. There might be a push start here to get it going.
They're away, 16.54. No, he's stalled again.
And Richards has gone out to 22.3 behind Dick Johnson, whose engine is misfiring, but probably will start to haul time now, but admittedly with only 12.5 laps remaining.
Moving at 25.87 seconds, Alan Grice back into the motor race, the Pepsi 250, but way now behind Peter Brock and Robbie Francevic. Only 12 laps remaining, and Dick Johnson looks like he's out of the Pepsi 250 as he comes up to the bridge. The car's been misfiring now for about 20 laps, and it seems almost as if he stalled it. Now got it going again, but he's limping to the pits, and Dick Johnson's motor race is run.
I'd say he's in serious trouble. He's still going, but he's driving very slowly.
And watch for the black JPS BMW of Jim Richards, which was 21.7 seconds in arrears last time we measured the gap. And when he catches...
Oh, the wheel.
The wheel's fallen off. There is the answer. And there is Jim Richards into the lead. Went past at exactly the same time.
Wheels coming back onto the track.
Well, what wretched luck for Dick Johnson in the car that has not yet given him a victory. He's not won a race in that car, and he only won one race last year in winning the Touring Car Championship. Let's have a look at it again. Watch that front wheel.
Dick obviously knew there was something drastically wrong with the car and was trying to get back to the pits.
And one of the most famous moments of your life, Bob Morris, was when you drove the whole lap of Oran Park on 3 wheels.
I actually drove 2 laps on 3 wheels and finished the race.
So Dick Johnson could perhaps take a lesson from you, but no, he's getting out of the motor car.
It's no excuse stopping just because the wheel fell off.
Only 2 laps remaining in the Pepsi 250 at Oran Park, and this is the leader, Jim Richards. He's now 1 lap and some 23 seconds clear of Peter Brock, with Robbie Francevic in 3rd place, 7.72 seconds behind. Then it's then it's 2 laps. Back to Alan Grice, who's passed Gary Wilmington on the road to take over 4th position, and then comes Kevin Bartlett in the Mitsubishi Starion. And it's been another breakthrough race from Jim Richards, Bob Morris. So far this year in the Australian Touring Car Championship, he won 7 rounds of the Australian Touring Car Championship, came 2nd once, 3rd once, and took 8 lap records. So far this year in the endurance title, this being the 2nd round, he's won the 1st one at Amaru Park and now seems absolutely set to take out this 2nd round, the Pepsi 250 at Oran Park, with 1 lap remaining. Bob Morris, what's going to stop Jim Richards this year for the James Hardy 1000 and of course the Castrol 500, which we see on ABC Sport on September 15th?
And it may seem today that he's won by default, but I think he's won by keeping the pressure on Dick Johnson in the Mustang and making him really have to work for it. And, well, unfortunately something broke for Dick. But at the end of the day, it's the winner that counts. And today again, the BMW team has come up trumps.
Well, to take one of the older motor racing phrases, much used, Jim Richards in this season has very much come from 0 to hero.
Yes, that's exactly right, but I think that they've done it through good homework, good planning, and a good background of supporting Europe.
1 corner remaining now, the Castrol corner. Jim Richards comes up to the acclaim of the crowd to take out the Pepsi 250 in 1985. In 2nd position should be Peter Brock, but Brock seems to be going much slower than previously, although now he's back on the pace once more. We look back for Francevic, who's a fair way back, and Peter Brock, having been the first man to pit on lap 1 with a problem, comes through to take 2nd place in the Pepsi 250, but cruising. And for Peter Brock, a big sigh of relief as he comes through in 2nd position. 3rd place will go to Robbie Francevic, who again cruises through.
I think the big question today is how far in front would Brock have been if he hadn't had the early pit stop?